Welcome back to the Fantasy Ford podcast. Excited to be back with all of you. I'm joined by Joe and Corey as always. And gentlemen, we got a great episode here talking a little bit of love, hate, and ride or die, channeling our inner Matthew Berries. But first off, I'd like to talk about a Boston sports team that's won like 19 of their last 22 games, the Boston Red Sox. We are hot, baby. We trade fat Rafael Devers to the San Francisco Giants. They go backwards. They fall out of the playoff race, and the Red Sox are squarely in the wild card, unlike some teams based in Cincinnati. Any thoughts on that, guys?
We're like 2.5 games out of a wild card spot. Thank you.
Are you in a wild card spot?
2.5 games out of a wild card spot, and the Mets are in front of us.
I hear.
So basically, yes.
I hear out. But, just want we'll talk a little baseball. America's pastime to open up the pod here before we get into the real sport. Preseason is kicked off, so baseball's luster is going to fall off very quickly. But Joe Stromer actually has the most recent MLB championship of the three of us, with the Texas Rangers taking one home. What was that, like 22, 23?
22, man. Yeah.
22, an iconic run with Garcia.
Dude, the years blend together, I swear. It was either 22 or 23. I already forgot.
We're getting old, but speaking of football being back, we had the Hall of Fame game just a couple weeks ago, or maybe a week and a half now. Super sloppy, but it was cool to see like Antonio Gates, who never played college football, get in. Jared Allen is like an absolute dog, Zen Daddy. So it's cool to see a couple of those guys talk about their career and get into the Hall. But what were your guys' thoughts on the Hall of Fame game? Definitely a pretty rough product.
There's just not much you can really do with the information. Like you just watch it and you're like, if you see Omarion Hampton run for like, a 50-yard breakaway touchdown, then it's like, it's the preseason. If he, fumbles a snap and he sucks ass, you're like, it's just the preseason. So there's like nothing you can really, you know what I mean? There's just nothing you can really make of it.
I agree with that to an extent. It's difficult to discern like what matters and what doesn't, but I think that like the physical traits are the ones everybody picks up on. I think everybody's like, wow, Travion Henderson is faster than we thought he was maybe coming out of Ohio State. Ran back his first play 100 yards for a touchdown. No big deal. 9-8 football team at minimum this year. No big deal. But I don't know if Corey caught the Bengals preseason game. What were your takeaways from Bengals preseason game number one?
I actually did not. I was working, serving the people from the ER very annoyingly. So, no, I did not catch the game. But, no, I saw our starters played. I saw Broda, Jamar Chase was the usual. But, no, I'm kind of with Joe. I don't really take a lot of stock in preseason, especially week one. Things like Shedeur, a.k.a. Shitter, having his resurgence and telling the reporters to stop talking bad about him. Like, get out of here, man. Like, that guy's nothing. So, yeah, I don't know. I didn't see much of the Bengals game. Once we get to, like, week 3 of preseason, I'll start perking my ears up a little bit more. But right now, I think there's some flashes of some things to take note of. But overall, not really excited.
All right. Well, we'll see if any rookies climb up the ADP rankings as well as the rostered rankings as they continue to show out in preseason. But for those unfamiliar with Matt Berry, our friend Cone really loves Matthew Berry. And for those unfamiliar, his love, hate, and ride or die model, his love list, players that he loves, hate list, player that he hates, and then his ride or die over the past few years has been his person that he's either taken down with the ship or winning the league with. And honestly, he's had some pretty good picks over the years, except Kyler Murray. And actually, we're going to talk about Kyler Murray today, or at least throw some shade at him. I'll allude to here in just a couple minutes. But we've each selected a player that we love, player that we hate, and our ride or die, and we're going to see who's right here at the end of the season. But I'm excited to kick it off here and open up the conversation with Joe's player that he loves out of Tampa Bay.
Absolutely. And, man, I just feel like I'm always talking about Tampa Bay players, even though, dedicated Cowboys fan here. But, yeah, I want to talk about Emeka. He's one of those guys that I would love to put him at my ride or die spot, but just because of his current value, just where I'm seeing him go in redrafts, I figured he'd be a good love candidate. So when we talk about finding value in the later rounds of fantasy, it's all about finding players with the right combination of talent, opportunity, and situation. And this guy checks every box. Okay. And I'll remind everybody, this guy was selected this year with a Bucks 19th overall pick. He's 6'1", 205, pumped out of Ohio State, which, if you know, you know, they pump out polished NFL ready wide receivers all the time. But again, so coming out of Ohio State, he was widely regarded as one of the most polished route runners in his class, capable of winning both outside and in the slot. Not to mention, he produced at a high level alongside some top tier talent like MHJ, rest in peace, and JSN. So now we're looking at this wide receiver room in Tampa, and we've got Godwin and Evans. Obviously, both goated, but starting to get there in age, and Godwin's still recovering from a late season surgery. I'm actually going to pull up a pic here. This is his ankle. This was taken on June 9th. Okay, these are the pictures they take of like the players, before they, before the season. So yeah, obviously last year had that terrible ankle injury, and as you guys can see, this has been circulating around the internet. Look at that ankle, boys. Tell me what you see.
She looks a little swollen.
Looks a little swollen, man. Looks a little cashed. So obviously, with that being said, this timetable for his return seems pretty open-ended. I don't know when this dude will play, but again, this was taken, in June. I'd be a little worried. I'll let the medical professional chime in, see what he thinks. But 19th overall pick. So they spent the draft capital on him for good reason. This guy is Mike Evans' replacement. And, I understand, like, Mike Evans, he's great. He's got, he's coming into his 11th season. He's had 1,000-yard seasons every single year that he has played, and he's going to remain the alpha. And, I'm sure he'll continue to produce, but, he's almost 32 years old, in his 11th season. And Father Time, as we all know, is undefeated. So Baker Mayfield is seemingly revitalized his career. He led the Bucs offense to top 10 production last year, and he's shown that he will heavily target the receivers that he trusts. And that trust seems to already be forming with Egbuka. Training camp reports show that Mayfield states Egbuka is the real deal, a statement you don't really hear that often from veteran quarterbacks about rookies unless they're truly impressed. So positive camp reports have backed that up, citing Egbuka's ability to separate in drills. He's got good route breaks. He's got good hands in contested catch situations. So from a fantasy perspective, I think the value is just undeniable for this guy. His current ADP hovers around pick 112 overall, which is like wide receiver 48 range in PPR formats. So that means in like a standard 10 or 12 team league, you can get this guy in the 10th or 11th round. And at that point in the draft, I don't know how you guys feel, but I mean, you're basically just picking between aged veterans with cap ceilings or just kind of throwing darts at a wall. So I think Egbuka is different. I think he's got a clear path to meaningful volume already with Godwin still nursing that ankle injury. If you look at the NFL currently ranks this offense as a number 2 in the league, the number 2 offense in the league heading into 2025, with implied scoring totals projecting a top 4 offensive finish for these guys. So I know that's very optimistic, but again, I think this guy's got a clear path to success. He's a young guy. He's going to ball out. And I'm pitching a 10 a little bit over here, but I love the Baker Mayfield comments. And I just feel like this guy's going to come in and ball out so long as, Godwin is out. And even when Godwin returns, I mean, who knows, what his role will be. Most of the time when you see people return from injury in the NFL, they get injured again the same season. So this is somebody that, like, if they're going the 10th or 11th round, like, I'm absolutely scooping them.
Yeah, I had not seen this picture actually that you put up of Godwin's ankle. And so when you uploaded this to the Google slide, full transparency, I was like, that pick goes fucking hard. I was like, that's a cool ass pick. Those jerseys are cool. And then I saw you build the arrow into his ankle, and I was like, oh man, that's tough. I didn't even notice that. Yeah, that's tough. I'm not trying to be Stephania Bell because all due respect, Stephania, I don't like you. So, but yeah, it's not good. They'd had to do some reconstructive stuff to his ankle, like add some plates and screws and yada yada. At a minimum, I mean, he dislocated his ankle, so I think that alone is gonna, when he does come back. Speaking of Godwin here, just to clarify, I think that he's not going to be himself for most of the year, if not all of the year, or for the rest of his career. So I think Egbuka has a great chance to step in. I also love him. I do think he's going super late in redraft, and he is a steal. Now, like replacing Mike Evans, I don't know if you were talking about the stats on, does he play the X, like the outside X receiver? Does he play in the slot? I thought Egbuka was a slot guy, but I could be just very wrong there.
Yeah, he is. He is.
So, yeah, I mean, he's going to be put in the starting lineup. Again, I like Jalen McMillan to get some run at some point this year as well with all these injuries. But Mike Evans is ancient. Like, I think he's still going to have a good year, but he's old. I think that Egbuka is just going to have a lot of opportunity this year. And reports coming out of camp, for whatever that's worth at this point, are very raving. Like, if you look at the Kay Adams interview this she had with Baker Mayfield and their coach. Yeah, yes, very much so. Bengals fan. Yeah, all the reports with that, like I think she asked everybody about Egbuka, or even just they brought it up on their own, and people were like, I love this guy. His attention to detail is crazy. Baker Mayfield was gushing about him. So, yeah, I mean, this guy is going to be a stud, and I think that kind of like these rookies like Brian Thomas Jr. last year, you can get these people at the end of your redrafts, and it's going to be a massive steal.
I'm going to be honest. I was so confused for a second because Chris Godwin is all over the slides, and we're actually talking about Egbuka. That's my bad. That's on me. But I will say, how quickly have we forgotten about Jalen McMillan, boys? Like, I'm not saying Joe's wrong. I'm actually about to say Joe's right, but everybody was on this Jalen McMillan hype train. The second they spend a second, I believe it was, on Emeka Egbuka, that ship sailed rather quickly. And it's kind of scary, man. You pick up these guys in the third, fourth round, maybe roster them for a while, throw them on the taxi squad, and they could be worthless if they draft somebody like Egbuka, who looks pretty damn good. All the points I think you guys made are valid. Like Mike Evans, doubt he plays all 17 games this year. Godwin looks like he may not even play 10 by the looks of Joe's research and photo here. By the way, agree, all white creamsicles go absolutely hard. I just see no reason why Egbuka can't carve out a spot in this offense. With his explosiveness off the line, he creates quickly, and that's really what you're looking for in a slot receiver. If you watch his tape at Ohio State, when he comes off the line, he's got 2 to 3 yards of separation super quickly. And I think he'll become a favorite target of Mr. Mayfield. Maybe not throwing up 15, 17 points a game, but I think he's realistically somebody who could get in that double-digit range, maybe 10 to 13 on average. And honestly, if somebody, rostered on the bench and redraft for plug-and-play purposes, or somebody obviously you're going to stash in Dynasty, a lot to love here with Mr. E squared, Emeka Egbuka.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, in case I said that he was Mike Evans' replacement, I'm going to say he is Chris Godwin's replacement.
Well, we got you.
Little slip there.
Corey, you like my E squared comment, man? So you giggling earlier.
I did, yeah.
That's so dumb.
He should patent that. He should make some hats.
King of dad jokes over here. Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't trademarked that one. But Joe, I mean, if you're obviously you're high on him, he's your love. I mean, do you think this is a startable player at the flex position in redraft?
Absolutely. And like the whole point with this, I think so. Absolutely, man. Like, dude, I'm not gonna freaking just glaze Tampa here again. You can watch our other videos, but like, dude, this is a really polished offense right now. Like, I know I'm being optimistic. I know we don't have a large sample size with the Baker Mayfield, just being as elite as he was last year. But I really like Tampa. I really like this offense. I love what Baker's doing. He's very creative. And I mean, if Godwin's not playing, like, look at his fucking ankle, man. Like, this was 2 months ago. Like, it's not looking great. And statistically, if you are injured and then you are cleared to play, like 90% of the time you get injured again later on in the season. So I just think he's extremely talented. And I really like him on this offense.
Is it just me? So, like, obviously we're looking at the right ankle here, but if you look at it's his left ankle in that photo. If you look at his right calf, does it look like he's been favoring that leg considerably? Like that calf is much larger than the one with the broken ankle. Am I seeing that? Is it just the ankle?
And this is what happens is people favor their other leg, and then that leads to injuries on that leg that they're favoring because they're overworking like CMC. They're overworking that other leg because they're putting a lot more of their body weight on it. They're pushing off a lot more with it. Risk for Achilles rupture. Like there's a lot of problems here. So again, like I said, I don't really think he's going to be back to normal all year. That's just my personal take on it, though.
We'll have to see. I think that calf looks bigger, man. Like he's definitely favoring it big time. So it's kind of like Quagmire when he walks out of the house after discovering what internet porn is, man. Like there's definitely a difference there. But
if you jacked up his legs.
Just want to quickly call out to in this photo. Anybody know who won that Super Bowl trophy on the left for the Buccaneers?
Oh baby, that I believe the old Grudemeister, yeah.
It's Coach Gru, baby.
Let's go,
Coach Gru, and then
Gruden, baby,
and then Bruce Arians, man, good old BA, who is also quickly forgotten around the league, man. He rode off into the sunset real quick after TB12 was out of town, but good conversation around East Squared, man. We'll have to see if Godwin's off the field, he's going to get his touches real quick, and hopefully makes the most of them, but. We'll go ahead and transition now to another hotly debated player who was reasonably high touted in his very long collegiate career. The quarterback for the Denver Broncos. Corey, who are you talking about?
Yeah, and I feel so, I don't know, so weird hyping up Bo Nix after years and years of him being at Auburn and hating him in college. You know, I think us as Arkansas fans remember the backward spike that should have been a fumble, water under the bridge at this point. I was really mad about that for years. But, yeah, Bo Nix tearing it up here in Denver. Hopefully going to go see him play in person against the Bengals when we come to town in September. But, yeah, I love this guy going into his sophomore year. He's got a lot of his weapons back. Cortland Sutton. We've talked about Marvin Mims Jr. and his potential as wide receiver 2 there. And then they brought in J.K. Dobbins at running back, drafted R.J. Harvey as well, who's potentially a highly regarded rookie here. And then their O-line's pretty solid. So I don't know. Looking back at last year's rookie year, he had 3,775 yards, 29 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and he ran for 430 yards and 4 touchdowns. So he offers something with his legs as well that you kind of look for in a fantasy quarterback. And then he finishes QB7, according to ESPN. So I don't know. I just think he's more comfortable. You saw it as the year went on last year. He's just getting more comfortable in that offense. And I just think that his arrow is pointing up. I think you can get him super late into redraft. I'm blanking on what round exactly, but down there with Dak Prescott. And I just would rather have this guy over a Dak that's super injury prone. Yeah, he's going to throw the ball a lot in Dallas, but he doesn't offer anything with his legs. So, yeah, I'm just really high on this guy. I think that he's going to mature in his second year here, and his weapons, again, he's just surrounded by so much talent. They have a 15th ranked strength of schedule. So right there in the middle of the pack to have a pretty good year, as far as like the competition goes that they're playing, quality of defenses, etc. And they have a pretty good defense himself. So, yeah, thank you, Joe. 8th or 9th round ADP right now in ESPN redraft league. So I don't know. I really like this guy. And again, I'm conditioned not to from his time in college at Auburn playing us and everything. But I just think that he looked so good last year. I'm not going to say that he looked better than Jayden Daniels. Obviously, Jayden Daniels had almost 1,000 rushing yards. But no, I really like this guy. I'm curious to see how you guys feel. I'm not saying he's going to be like a top 4 or 5 QB, but I could easily see him replicating his QB7, like top 10, 5 to 10 QB status again in his sophomore season in the NFL.
Yeah, it's funny you brought up Jayden Daniels and his rushing ability. I think that's one thing you didn't touch on with Bo Nix. So I'm going to read you a list of players, and you tell me which one stands out to you. So Jayden Daniels, Robert Griffin III, Cam Newton, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Vince Young, Kyler Murray, Caleb Williams, Russell Wilson. What did they all do?
They run?
Thank you. Jesus Christ.
Well, you read about an encyclopedia's worth of players to me.
Yeah,
the Caleb Williams thing threw me off. I was like, what the fuck
Caleb
is he doing in
Williams
the
had to
conversation?
run because he's running for his life and he's a check down merchant, but that's fine.
Yeah,
anyway, the names I want you Lamar, Cam, Vince Young, Josh Allen, Kyler, right? Those are all the people who had the most rushing yards by a quarterback in their rookie year. The next person on the list is Bo Nix. Like, he ran a decent amount last year, 430 rushing yards, 4 tuds on the ground. That could easily go up if they decide to QB sneak. Could easily go up if they eventually ban the tush push. I like his mobility. And honestly, like, I didn't feel like he really showcased it in college that much. Maybe a little bit in Oregon in the last year. Definitely didn't in Auburn. But if he turns into a guy who can bounce out of the pocket and hit some of these receivers that they've assembled in Denver, just extended Cortland Sutton. A lot of people are high on Pat Bryant out of Illinois, myself included. Go watch the video if you would like to hear more about that. But I see no reason to believe there's going to be major regression with Bo Nix. It's probably not going to be QB7, but I'm comfortable with him in that QB 9-10 range. And where you're getting him in the 8th, 9th round from an ADP perspective, I think that's exactly what you're looking for and beat your expectations. So a lot of haters for Bo Nix, I think, because of the collegiate bias, but everything he showed us in the NFL is positive. I'm with you.
Yeah, I'll agree. And I mean, just to segue off of that, I mean, we're looking at this O-line. This is a top 3 O-line. And then, they've got, they added Evan Ingram, J.K. Dobbins, and I got a little stat here. So at the end of the season, his completion rate jumped to 70%. So he just really was like starting to come into his own. I think he's going to be a great talent, going forward. I mean, finishing QB7 as a rookie is pretty impressive. And again, average 18.7 points per game. So I like him there, the 8th, 9th round. Like, if you were, in your regular redraft and you were, not wanting to go draft an S tier quarterback like Josh Allen in the 3rd or whatever, and you wanted to maybe reach on somebody that you think has high upside, I think this guy safely has top 10 floor with top 5 upside. That's just my opinion. I love Bo Nix, so you'll hear no argument from me.
Bo Nix had the season that we wanted Caleb Williams to have, I think. Well,
Yes.
Not we. I'm a hater. But like, I think if you switch them, nobody would be surprised, is my point.
Yeah. Well, and I'm curious who, like, I think there's an obvious list of QBs that you have. That kind of like that first grouping of QBs is going around 3 or 4. You have Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Jayden Daniels. I'm blanking on the 5th one, but like, who else do you have above this guy that you want as your starting fantasy quarterback? Like Joe Burrow, you can throw in there, I'm sure. I know he offers not a lot with his legs, but like, he's up there with that group. But like, who else do you want? Like Keith's saying, I don't know about QB7. Like, who do you want in front of him that's not in that top tier group?
The only argument that I'm not even making personally, but just because I have our ADP cheat sheet here is Baker Mayfield is probably like the one quarterback that's actually jumped in ADP, is going right before him.
If healthy, I would take Dak. Sorry, Joe. I thought you were done talking. My bad.
No, you're good.
Just because of the volume of passing, is it like a Joe Burrow situation? Because Dak doesn't offer anything, and he's been injured as crap. So I'm just anything with his legs. I like Dak.
Throw that ball, baby. They're going to air that thing out. It's that Brian Schott offense. He's coaching for his job already. He's going to try to win games.
I got a whole spiel ready for this, boys.
Guy walked into the building and was coaching for his job. GG's.
Yeah, well, the prodigal son.
GG's. But hey, who knows? But hey, we'll see what happens at Mile High. Corey will get a firsthand look at Mr. Nix this season. Either it's massive regression or a lot of the same, which we saw last year. And honestly, like, it's probably year 2 where people finally start to put some respect on Bo Nix's name. But we'll transition into my love now. And I got to say, mine's not as abrasive, I guess, as Bo Nix and Emeka Egbuka. I would say I've got a pretty safe love pick here, but I'll break it down for you. And I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about Mr. CeeDee Lamb, the best receiver in the NFC East, no question, above A.J. Brown. He's running into officials on the sideline, getting fined, He's fired up about Micah Parsons not getting his deal yet. I like his tenacity he's bringing this year. I think he's pissed off, and he's at the point where he's like, I'm going to take matters into my own hands to help this team win games. I've got the girl wrapped in the aluminum foil there because he's truly the safety blanket for this team. When in doubt, find CeeDee. Very similar to Jamar Chase, always open. And we'll talk a little bit about his performance with different quarterbacks here in a second. But 2024 was kind of a year of regression for CeeDee, at least by his like S-tier elite standards. You look at the target share there, that's a significant dip from prior year, 2023, just 24%. On a Dallas team that kind of struggled, obviously with Dak being injured. I'll say below average coaching is the nice way to put it with Fat Boy McCarthy, but still managed to average 12th among receivers in receiving yards per game. The thing that freaked me out a little bit is the yards per route run at 16th. Like as a deep threat, I'd like to see that definitely within the top 10. But here's the story, if you go to the next slide, Joe, that I think everybody's excited about. If you look at CeeDee's stats among whatever quarterback is throwing in the ball, they are very, very similar. So first column is just with Cooper Rush subbed into the game when Dak gets knocked out, but mainly just want to focus on the last two columns there. Rush versus Dak career averages. I mean, same amount of receptions, 10-yard dip in yards. Now, the biggest concern here is obviously the touchdowns per game. He catches significantly more touchdowns from Dak Prescott. However, Cooper Rush isn't on this team anymore. Dallas let him walk, and you've gone out and picked up Joe Milton from the New England Patriots, which I am on that was a mistake train. Like, I think Joe Milton could have definitely pressed Drake May to be the starting quarterback. That being said, Drake May is way better than him now that we've traded Joe Milton away. But it's a match made in heaven, right? The stats don't lie here. Whether Dak's in the game or Joe Milton's in the game, it's the best of both worlds. Dak's going to air it out. He's on a huge contract. Schottenheimer's coaching for his job, like we talked about earlier. I think they're going to throw the ball a hell of a lot. Joe Milton, deep threat, airs the ball out. He's got a huge arm, big cannon, as we like to say. I just don't think that CeeDee has any doubts in my mind as I think about him going into 25. I think he's easily a top 3 receiver and potentially even top 2 now with some of the concerns around Justin Jefferson's health level. And I have no problem taking this guy within the top 5 of a redraft league and easily, multiple first-round picks if we're talking dynasty. But CeeDee's the man. He's easy to like, and he's bringing that fire into next year. So he is definitely my love if we're talking wide receivers.
Yeah, and I'll jump in because I had him last year. I drafted him in a redraft, and you mentioned he had a lackluster year, just super disappointing. Dak was injured. He was injured. He had like ankle, knee, toe, everything you can think of. I feel like every game he got tackled and was like coming out of the game for a couple plays. So just kind of a nightmare, kind of outlier of a year last year for him. And if I had a top 4, 5, 6, whatever pick in our redraft league, I would happily draft this guy. I think he has a massive comeback year and it kind of reminds everybody why he was going top 3, top 4 last year. So yeah, I think you hit on, everything. I don't know about the comment about Joe Milton pressing Drake May. That was a surprising one. I don't know if I agree with that one.
Pressing and winning the job are two different things.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's all I got.
Well, for me, this is going to be my ride or die because not only am I a Cowboys fan, but I just love CeeDee Lamb and I freaking believe in this guy. Like Keith said, I mean, he is like the heartbeat of our offense. Dak is not that, so don't even come at me with that. But CeeDee Lamb, absolute apex of his career. I mean, he's 26 years old, smack in the middle of his prime, and this is where elite wideouts historically post their peak efficiency and volume. So yeah, again, like Keith said, I've got some stats here too. 24% target share, accounted for 28% of Dallas's red zone targets last year, despite the offense dealing with a banged up Dak and a pretty inconsistent run game, if you ask me. So I mean, that's elite usage, boys. And now the situation's even better. Dak is healthy. CeeDee is fully healthy. I know he had a shoulder issue last year, so that's in the rear view. And like Keith said, the scheme is shifting. I'm not going to talk too much about the prodigal son there, but yeah, Shoddy's openly saying he's cranking up the pre-snap motion. He's getting CD the ball a lot more. And then enter George Pickens. He's going to command safety help, which is going to let Lamb kind of slide inside, more often, where he just absolutely destroys people. But yeah, from the slot last year, looking at this, Lamb averaged 3.15 yards per route run, according to PFF, which is fucking elite territory. So dude just feasted on mismatches against, slot corners and linebackers, and, more slot reps equals higher catch rates, more yak, more scoring opportunities. And let's talk about the Dallas run game. Okay. If this is a real question mark, all right, we might be ruling out fucking Deuce Vaughn if Javonte Williams doesn't lock the job down, which I'm sure he will. But again, that uncertainty is just going to push this offense to lean into what it does best, which is throw the piss out of the ball. So given our defense is pretty ass, I think we're projected bottom 10 in play allowed. Yeah, Dallas is just going to have to push the pace. We're going to have to stay aggressive just to keep games competitive, which, again, what does that mean? We're going to throw the ball. And we're going to throw it to CeeDee Lamb. So looked at some training camp reports, and yeah, Lamb is like moving all over the formation. He's getting schemed touches in motion. Vegas has us projected as the number 1 passing offense this year. Just further bolstering everything that Keith said. So you get some primetime exposure as well, which is embarrassing for me. But if you like watching your players, you're going to be watching a lot of CeeDee Lamb. So yeah, I love it. Great pick.
Yeah, I loved your point. I think what was the yard per route run in the slot you quoted? It was like over 3.
Yeah, over 3.
So you compare that to his just like blended overall number at 2.36. Like, you're totally right. Like, yes, he's a deep ball target and can do that, but he does tear people up. When he's in the slot, no diddy. So I think that they're going to move him around, and we'll see what ends up happening. I hate Brian Schottenheimer train, but he may prove me wrong this year. If his pre-snap motions work, maybe we got something in Dallas finally, after they've burned through several coaches here over the last few years. But this guy is as safe gets, and excited. I mean, he's just a fun player to watch, to Joe's point. Like, you watch CD run routes and you're like, man, just when this guy gets the ball in his hands, it is electric. But we will go ahead and transition to our next topic of conversation, which are the players we hate, that we are avoiding at all costs. And we're going to continue our Pittsburgh conversation. We talk a lot of Tampa and we talk a lot of Pittsburgh, but let's talk about our Pittsburgh wide receiver we're throwing in the trash pile here.
All right, everybody. And, I've already talked about this guy. We made a whole video on it. Put a link right here. You guys can go watch it. But for me, that's going to be DK Metcalf. And here's my point. Talking from a redraft perspective, this guy is going way too high in redrafts. This is a classic name over game guy. I get it. He's chiseled. He's jacked. He repped 225 at the combine like 4,000 times. Like, dude, I get it. But this is a fantasy football channel, okay? We don't care about that. We want people that are actually going to perform for us in fantasy. And right now, his ADP sits in the wide receiver 20 to wide receiver 24 range. So that's like roughly an early 5th round pick. But again, his production hasn't matched this price tag in years, okay? Over the last 3 seasons, he's averaged just 13 to 14 PPR points per game, finishing as like a wide receiver 2, high-end wide receiver 3 every year since 2020. Again, I'll quote my last video. He has not had a top 20 finish since 2020. And even back then, if you look at his fantasy points per game average, it was 14. So just a shitty year. This guy, man, I don't want to keep like just hating on this guy. I love him as like a, as a person. But like, 2024 posted only 66 catches, 992 yards, 5 touchdowns. He ranked wide receiver 33 last year in PPR, despite leading all NFL wideouts and end zone targets since entering the league. So you're like, what's the problem? Well, the problem is he converts these high value looks at a poor rate, just 18% in 2022 compared to a league average of 42%. So if you're looking at his target share last year, also 19%. And I know you guys are probably, some people are going to be out there, oh, he's got Aaron Rodgers now, like that number's going to, jump up. But like, can we get real? Can we get real? This is your quarterback. This is your man. This is your guy right here. Well, just look at him. It's not going to improve, guys. I'm sorry, Steelers fans. It's not going to improve.
You do know that's Photoshopped, right?
Yeah, obviously. But
okay. I don't know. You were so much hating on it. I didn't know.
I know it's Photoshopped, okay. But I mean, the helmet is probably real. He does like that kind of helmet. But anyway, just to kind of just to kind of wrap this up, last year, target share, 19%. Yards per route run was 1.85. He ranked 31st in ESPN's open score. He's got bad separation issues. And now, he's in Pittsburgh with Aaron Rodgers. The volume may rise a little bit, but for me personally, I think there's still efficiency concerns. And this offense is not going to be – I don't think it's going to be high volume enough to, bail him out. So for a wide receiver who's drafted as a top 24 option right now, this guy is going way too high and somebody that I don't want anything to do with.
I mean, I agree. I think if you're getting this guy as your flex, it's like there's worse flex options out there. Kind of like our dynasty video that you're plugging right here where we talked about him extensively. But like, I just think, and again, in the least biased way possible with me being a Bengals fan, I think that this Steelers offense is going to be bad. They have a bad O-line. They have a bad quarterback that is ancient, per your picture there. And they just don't have any targets, man. They have DK Metcalf. And this is the only reason I think that he's going to be flex worthy is even the worst offenses have relevant receivers. Like, they have to pepper somebody, like see Deontay Johnson a few years ago for them. Like, I just think this guy's going to be Deontay Johnson 2.0. And like, again, that's not the worst thing, but if you're relying on this guy, like if you snag this guy and he is your wide receiver too, seek help, man.
Rest in peace.
I'm not going to say you need to do what the boys know I'm going to say, but like, it's bad. The panic button should be out of the case and your hand should be on it. So I don't know. I'm not going to beat a dead horse again, but I just think he is a flex ceiling player. I could see him getting wide receiver 2 numbers, I guess, in a perfect world. But yeah, I think this is the year the Steelers as a whole like finally hit rock bottom and they're just finally not at least a 500 team and they have a really bad year. So yeah, I'm with you here. I don't like this guy.
One more thing before I let you go ahead, Keith. Look at what happened to Garrett Wilson when he had Aaron Rodgers throwing him the ball. Look at all the pieces.
PTSD.
All the pieces that the Jets brought in.
Please stop.
And look how they did my boy, Garrett Wilson. Shout out Garrett Wilson. But like,
he should be compensated for what they did to him.
I agree.
Aaron Rodgers does not build rapport with receivers quickly, and he's not going to have a lot of time because he's going to be hurt at least 3 to 4 games this year. So two big things that haven't already been discussed. Arthur Smith's offense, he's going to pound the rock. I don't think they're going to throw it that often. And when they do, you have 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers, who looks like absolute dog shit in camp, by the way. I don't know if you guys have seen some of the Steelers camp footage, but it's not much better than Caleb Williams missing the net. Like, he's complaining more about his helmet that he's being forced to wear than actually like completing passes. And that's a stark contrast to when the Jets were on Hard Knocks and everybody was like, this guy is a badass. Like that's a Hall of Fame Super Bowl winning quarterback. Like, admittedly, in Jets camp 2 years ago, before he tore the Achilles on, was it Sunday Night Football with the American flag on 9/11? I'll never forget that. That run out was badass, by the way.
Protection breaks down and time runs out. Down goes Rodgers and the sack for Leonard Floyd.
Issue in training camp, but here's a little better look as far as what might have happened for him to go back down to the ground.
And he's coming out of the game.
But I digress. he looked really good in camp. The fact that he's not looking good in camp now, don't love that. They're going to run the ball a lot. I didn't love DK that much anyway. There's just a lot of factors working against it. Where I do disagree is I do think the Steelers will be a 500 or above team. I believe in Mike Tomlin too much. I may be proven wrong, but I think they'll have a strong defense and they'll win some ties, right? Like games they're not supposed to win, they'll win by a field goal or whatever it is. And they may come out, 9-8 or something like that. But we're not talking about the Steelers. We're talking about DK Metcalf. And yeah, I'm with Joe. I'm with Corey. Like, what'd you say? If he's your wide receiver 2, seek help. Like, I agree 100%. Like,
You know what I want to say, but I'm going to keep it PG.
I know what
yeah, that would be my thoughts there. I'll kick it over to Joe to close this book.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Sorry, Steelers fans. Really do wish you guys the best. Appreciate the George Pickens snag we got from you guys, man. We're going to take good care of the boy. Put him in our little circus show, and yeah, we're gonna pepper him. It's gonna be great.
Pepperdine University. But we will move on to Corey's hate, probably the most shocking of the evening. But we're gonna talk a lot a bit about a Cardinals tight end who really broke out last year after many people expected him to be one of the top elite fantasy tight ends in the league. Corey, what do you got about Trey McBride?
So I want this picture, man. I want. All right. So first of all, I just want to talk about Bath and Body Works before I make some people angry. I've got my Ocean Driftwood today. Zooming in here. It's a lightly used. I couldn't help myself, and it zoomed way too far out here. But no, Trey McBride. I like the guy. I don't like his quarterback, and I don't like how high his ADP is. So Cardinals fans, we've talked a lot about how we don't like Kyler Murray. I'm sorry. I'm also a fan of a shitty franchise, and I want you to know that I'm not trying to target you and shit on you, but your quarterback's bad. You got to move on from him. And I think that it'll hamper Trey McBride's production this next year. He had a great rookie year, kind of overshadowed by Brock Bowers there, but 1,100 yards, 2 reception touchdowns, which if you're one of those believers in returning, regression to the mean there, that should go up. But I just think if you're expecting Marvin Harrison Jr. to take a step forward, which I think is reasonable, that's more targets to Marvin Harrison Jr. They have Michael Wilson as a wide receiver 2, who a lot of people are high on. Young guy. I think he's going into his 3rd year. And then they have a really strong run game. And again, I'm not just to touch on this again, like we did in our video on Kyler, they are a run first offense. That is the way that their offensive coordinator works. They are a run heavy team. They rely on James Conner and now Trey Benson coming into the year. And I can't stomach this guy. I guess his ADP is like the main thing that's bothering me. I'm not a fan of picking a tight end early. Maybe you are. In general, Keith called me out on this, accumulating stats in our redraft league, but it's just hard to stomach when you see what Sam Laporta did last year. Joe was a victim number 1 of Sam Laporta year 2. He has an amazing rookie year, maybe an outlier year, some are saying. And the 2nd year, he just falls flat on his face. So I don't think Trey McBride, bottom line, is in a good enough offense with a good enough quarterback to be up here with these other players, especially when you're looking at the top tier quarterbacks you can get in this area. Brock Bowers, I'll let him be. I also think he's too high, but whatever. He had a great rookie year, like historic. But yeah, this is just the bottom line. I like Trey McBride as a player. I like what he did as a rookie. I'm terrified of taking him at his ADP here. So Keith, I know you have a lot to say in arguing against me, but I just want you to know I don't dislike him and what he's done. It's just where he's being drafted.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. And I think if he was a wide receiver, you would not have him as a hate, just because I don't think people are comfortable with taking anyone outside of Brock Bowers this early in the draft. So maybe I'm wrong, and I'll open it up to you to disagree with that if I'm putting words in your mouth there. But with McBride, you had, like you mentioned already, like the touchdowns have to come up. Like they were like actively scheming him to get touchdowns last year and he couldn't score. Like it just like felt like God was against him for whatever reason. And he still finished tight end 2, tight end 3, maybe even tight end 1, something elite. Somebody check me on that if you don't mind. But I think I'll give you both sides of it. Number one, MHJ, tongue twister, does not, turn out to be the elite player we thought he was. And Trey McBride's the number 1 receiver on this offense for another year, has great rapport with Kyler Murray. And who do you guys know who the backup quarterback is for Arizona this year? Who's probably going to see some game time?
I actually don't.
Jacoby Brissett.
Oh, you're
so somebody with starter experience, right? Like who's not complete dog shit. Is probably a top 13 backup in the league, we'll call it. So I like that, especially because Kyler's probably going to get hurt. He's a visor-wearing quarterback, by the way. Just continue to build the narrative around the visor wearers. Baker only wears his sometimes, so Baker's exempt. But I also don't love Jonathan Gannon. I'd put him probably like bottom 5 in the league head coach wise. He's supposed to be a defensive minded guy. Couldn't tell you who their offensive coordinator is. The thing that will, and then this is the other side of the coin where I can see where Corey's coming from. I think the Cardinals are going to get their shit kicked in like 90% of their games. And the game script may, leak towards deep balls. And Trey McBride's ADOT was actually not that high. I think it was right over 6 yards, which considering his production is actually kind of low. So if you're losing by 40, you're probably going to be airing it out to Marvin Harrison Jr. Trey McBride hasn't really shown that he's a deep threat. He is a threat, but not a deep one. And I just think that the game script may point the other direction. So I wouldn't say he's a hate. I would say he's a caution. But before we get over to Joe, Corey, what are your thoughts? Like, are you putting him as a hate if he's a wide receiver and not a tight end? Same stats, same team.
I think I am. Because again, that's only 2 touchdowns. And look at, you're taking him in the 2nd round. Like, it's just tough.
Back to the ADP chart. I'm sorry, Joe. I'm making you flip around here. But so on this list, I would take a McBride over London, Higgins, Kyron, Chase Brown, and McConkey. And I know you're going to disagree with me on a lot of that, but I feel pretty confident about that.
Oh, wait, did you say you would take him over Drake London?
Correct.
Yes,
I'm a Drake London hater.
Yeah, that's a tough statement. I respect your opinion on that, but if he was a wide receiver and this guy scored 2 touchdowns and barely eclipsed 1,000 yards, no, he should not be this high on people's draft boards. Like T. Higgins at least had, I don't know how many touchdowns he had, but 6, 8, coupled with 1,000. Same for, I know you hate Drake London, but that guy had some decent stats, especially touchdowns. He's like a red zone machine. So yeah, I'll let Joe go ahead here, but I don't like him. I think that maybe you get as more people emerge on this team, you have kind of the yards go down and the touchdowns go up, and that kind of keeps them afloat at the same fantasy output. But I don't like him. I don't like every time I looked at the screen, because it became a narrative at the end of the year how he wasn't scoring a touchdown. He didn't have a touchdown until week 16 or something like that. And you would just see their running backs barreling into the end zone. There's James Conner with another 30-yard touchdown, pulling 5 guys across the goal line. And their OC has come out and said, we are not changing the offense that drastically. So
who is their OC? Do we even know who
it's it's like Petsing or something like that. We talked about it in the Kyler video, but he is they are run heavy. Ganondorf, who you already brought up, is a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit coach. He's a DC from the Eagles, man. He's not an offensive guy. So I don't know. I don't like him.
What did you call him? Ganondorf?
Ganondorf, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Okay.
He's from Super Smash Bros.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, for sure. Joe, what's your thought on McBride?
Yeah, I see both sides of the coin. I'm having drafted Laporta his rookie year and him having just that awesome season. And then, you see the sophomore slump. I can just see like whenever you have a tight end that just has this like amazing season and they're getting, a large portion of the target share that, more than likely the following year, they're going to spread the ball around a lot more. You're not going to see, I just think that, I think he might have seen a statistical peak, if that makes sense. I think there's going to be a regression in volume for sure. And then, it's a little alarming. He only had 2 touchdowns last year because I feel like they were scheming for him like in the red zone a lot. But like, again, Kyler Murray is just not like the best quarterback. Sorry, Cardinals fans. Let that Cardinals fan come rip me again for that last video we had. But like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just concerned like that he's not going to get the same volume. And then also like, not to beat a dead horse, but Kyler Murray can't really see over his O-line. So, and he gets really scared and, he runs around and then he throws a little check down to James Conner more than likely. So I just don't know. I just think that like, also with MHJ emerging, it could knock McBride down to maybe like second in the target hierarchy. So like I watch Kyler and I'm like, this guy blows. Like he can't even complete a pass, but then this weird metric will just pop up. You're like, oh yeah, by the way, Trey McBride had 1,100 yards. It's like, how?
Well, he was like their whole offense. And that's kind of my point is if you think MHJ is going to take any sort of step forward in his second year, this guy's targets are going to go down. His yards are going to go down. His touchdowns might go up, if they don't run the ball in every time. But yeah, and I don't know. I'm probably being too harsh on the guy, but I just round 3, like back where Kittle is going, sure. Up here where like Bucky Irving's going, no, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah. That's high ADP.
That's where most of my hate's coming from. Sorry, Keith.
No, I get it. I mean, look, I'm a McBride dynasty owner. Traded OBJ for him. I've said that many times, and I say it so much because it's one of the best trades I've ever made in my career. But I would just close this. Like, can we just be real for a moment? The Arizona Cardinals are the most obsolete team in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
Like nobody gives a fuck about. Like I don't think I've ever met a Cardinals fan in my life.
I was just telling the guys this.
Comments.
I sent you guys a Snapchat the other day because I saw someone had a Cardinals license plate and I like jizzed myself. I'm like, dude, I want to talk to you. Like, let's talk. I don't know any fucking Cardinals fans. Genuinely. I get excited if I see a Cardinals jersey, which is never.
Having worked in Arizona down there on the reservation that I worked on, I saw a lot of them, but I feel like they're contained to like this part of the country, like if you see any outside of that, they're like on vacation or something. You just don't see like a Cardinals fan in, I don't know, Tennessee, Minnesota. It's just,
Well, it's just one state though. Cause like the entire Mountain West is Broncos country. So
they're just surrounded by so many legendary like dynasties out there.
And Nevada has a team now with the Raiders. So yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about it as we were talking. I was like, dude, who cares about the Cardinals, man?
Respectfully, though, if you're a Cardinals fan, comment down below. We want to talk to you. We want to talk to Cardinals fans.
Because are you from Arizona? That's the question.
Yeah.
Yes.
And are you from Arizona?
I'm not. I'm a Bengals fan. We suck fucking ass. I get it. I'm not attacking you. But if you can't come to terms that Kyler Murray is not your quarterback of the future, I don't know. We can't have a conversation, but I am curious to hear like where you live if you're a Cardinals fan and tell us why we're wrong, I guess, civilly.
Yes, and your all black jerseys are crispy. I'll give you that. Cardinals have some nice jerseys. And sometimes that's enough, but hey, Cliff Kingsbury, man, held him a little bit too long and it set you back just a little bit. But we'll go ahead and move on to my hate. And again, this is somebody that I may have to defend a little bit, but let's talk a little bit about Nico Collins. And I just don't see the top 10 ADP with this guy. I make it make sense for me. And I'm open to your guys' thoughts on this, but it just seems like his body is degrading over time. I don't know how he probably missed what actually I know he missed 3 games last year. And I've got the injury bug on here. It just feels like he's constantly banged up, even when he doesn't miss games. He was a Cinderella, right? Let's acknowledge that. He missed 5 games. I apologize. He was a Cinderella coming out of like a lot of people's just added him for fab. And he goes to be, I think, a top 10 wide receiver rather quickly on a Texans team that was super likable, right? They picked up CJ Stroud. Most people like D'Amico Ryans. Joe's got a little hurt here, I think, that he's going to talk about with Nico Collins. We'll get to Joe here in a second. But I think this guy, I've yet to see him escape this more recent injury bug that he has. And it reflected in his stats, if we go to the next slide here, in 2024. Now, let me just preface by saying you're going to look at this and say, okay, well, he played less games, therefore all of his stats are going to be less. Yes, but at the end of the day, he still played less games. The guy's got to be on the field in order to produce. Had a pretty good showing when it comes to touchdowns per game. I like what I see there, but yards and yards per reception is really where I want to hone in. Some of this could be explained by CJ Stroud's, we'll call it regression, step back, blip in the radar, whatever you want to call it, last year. If CJ Stroud goes back to, his rare form that he demonstrated his rookie season, maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe Nico Collins is a dog. But this is somebody I'm avoiding in redraft around that 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th pick range. I want nothing to do with him. I would much rather have Malik Neighbors, who's going at the same ADP right now. Stephon Diggs is out of town. We get that. But, it just doesn't feel like this guy commands the target share of a top 10 wide receiver. Malik Neighbors, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, these are the bona fide go-to guys for their quarterbacks. Nico Collins, he catches passes, but I put him in that Amon-Ra St. Brown conversation where there's other mouths to feed in this offense, which took major steps back last year. I just don't see it with Nico. If he can stay healthy, sure, he's a wide receiver 7. But do you want that with your first pick if you're sitting in the late first round? I don't. I'm a pass. Goodbye, Nico Collins. No, thank you. Joe, you're angry. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, he totally ruined my year last year, just having him go out with the hammy, which obviously not his fault. But I think a lot of this is posturing off of the season that he had last year, because again, you had a span of time there where Diggs was out, I think with the ACL or the knee injury or whatever, and then
the entire back half of the season.
Yeah, and so it's I think it's a lot of posturing, because obviously he's going to look good when he's CJ Stroud's only target. So I kind of do understand the argument. And I'm thinking about this year, now that they've got the addition of Christian Kirk, and, they got Jayden Higgins back there now too. I don't know what the deal is with Tank Dell. Maybe he's playing. I think he might be dead. I don't know. He had a really bad injury. So I'm kind of with you. I'd be a little bit nervous. I still think he's a freaking beast. He's a great prospect, and he's probably going to continue to ball out. But what you're also banking on is that the Houston Texans play well, and that CJ Stroud kind of comes out of that sophomore slump that he had last year, and that they figure out the O-line and their weird scheming, their weird high school scheming, man. They've got to do better offensively in order for him to be what you want him to be. I don't know what his ADP is right now. I could look it up. Somebody had that. Yeah, I mean, dude, top 10 guy. I don't know. I see what you're saying, but more than likely I wouldn't be too concerned. But yeah, there's going to be increased competition for targets for sure. And yeah, no, I see they have his ADP's got him at the wide receiver 7, which, I think you're going to be drafting him at his ceiling, and there, you know what I mean? There could be a little regression there. So I'm kind of with you, but I'd still pick him up though. I wouldn't completely be out on him.
Is that number, that's across multiple platforms, right, Joe? Your ADP?
Yeah, no, this is a master ADP, boys.
Yeah. It's interesting because ESPN's got him at 14. Which I feel much more comfortable with that number, and he's actually trending up. So yeah, he's ranked 14, average pick 16.1. They've got him behind Neighbors, Amon-Ra, Puka, and they've got Genty, A-Chain, Derrick Henry above him as well. And I feel much better with that. But I don't know, Corey, I'm open to your thoughts. I know you're a Nico Collins Cinderella owner. So what are your thoughts on a guy that you probably spent $20 fab on?
Yeah, I mean, you and I were talking before the video. It's a little bit hard for me to stay grounded with him, just because I got him off of waivers before he broke out 2 years ago in our Dynasty League. But he's someone without revealing too much, because Keith and I are drafting right next to each other in our redraft league. Like, I've played with the idea of taking this guy at the 1-8 because I'm personally not massive on Amon-Ra. I'm personally, like, unlike Keith, it sounds like not super big on Neighbors, although like I'm kind of toying with that one still as well. And it's hard because I remember Joe having this guy last year in our redraft league, and he was just popping off. Like, I feel like every game before he hurt his hamstring, he was like 20, 25, 30. I was like, oh my God, like I would love to have this guy on my team. So I don't know. The injuries are tough. Kind of like you said, wild card there. Their O-line is still ranked last in the league. So it's one of those deals, if Joe Mixon's foot thing that we talked about on last week's episode is something that keeps him out for a lot of the year, what does this offense look like? Is he going to get as many opportunities? On the flip side of that, is he going to be DK Metcalf, like we just talked about, and just get absolutely peppered with targets because he's the only thing that they have, like, as only like bona fide weapon on that offense? So they did bring in, two of those rookies, Noel and Higgins, and I don't know. Who knows what they're going to be? It's increased target competition. Tank Dell, like Joe said, rest in peace. Like, he's probably out for most of the year. His lower leg destroyed. So I don't know. He's scary because he's such an I don't know type of guy. And, we'll talk about it a little bit with my ride or die, but like, I've compared him and like a couple of the other guys in this ADP range. And it's just, everybody at this point has something that is pushing them down to the end of the first, early second. And his is definitely his injuries and is definitely like the quality of offense that they're on. So yeah, I don't know. This guy is an enigma to me. Like, I'm happy to have him in Dynasty, but it's for redraft. It's like, this is who you're hitching your wagon to with your first pick. Doesn't make me feel great if that's my guy.
With you 1,000% on that last point that you just made. Like, I'm not hitching my wagon to a guy where I don't even think he's like a bona fide number one on his own team. Like, yes, he's the number one wide receiver. I'm not saying like he's second to somebody, but like his target share, again, I'd have to pull it, but I just don't think it matches what he is supposed to be. And AJ Brown right now I think his ADP is right next after Nico Collins. So I guess the question to you guys is AJ Brown or Nico Collins? I'm taking AJ Brown 11 out of 10 times.
It's actually pretty tough. And also that target share is 24%, Keith. So
Thank you.
Not terrible, but
hashtag stat that.
Yeah. That's a tough one because, again, AJ Brown, I know we're not talking about him in this video, but like, is that offense going to be run heavy again?
Yes.
He's
not
just
a very
in the group.
pass-happy offense.
No, I know. And so this is the thing is like all of these guys have warts in this ADP. And this is what I was bitching to Joe about earlier today is like, I hate this. Like, you have to kind of pick your poison with what do you hate the most here? Is it the risk of injury? Is it, what does that offense look like? How much do they pass the ball? Like, what does their O-line look like? It's just a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, I don't envy those who have to pick in the 8 through 10 range in redraft PPR, man. Like, it is a absolute bloodbath, and there's nobody really falling through the cracks. Maybe Puka, maybe McCaffrey, but again, like Puka, you got the Stafford conversation. McCaffrey, you got the injury conversation. I would love, like, I'm sitting at 7 right now. I would love to just get CeeDee Lamb and sleep nice, but I don't think that's going to happen. It never does, right? So we'll see what happens with Jay Jetta. That could shake this whole thing up if he continues to be injured and is slated to miss some time. Your redraft board's going to go crazy. But with that, we were just talking about average ADP from Amon-Ra to Neighbors, and now we're talking about somebody who's right there with that receiving group. Just after A.J. Brown is a Jacksonville wide receiver who really broke out last year. And he's looking to continue his stronghold on the Jags offense, even with Travis Hunter in town. So, Corey, tell us about your ride or die. Who you hitching your ship to?
So, yeah, I'm going to go with Brian Thomas Jr. It's shocking every time I open this guy's player profile card on any site and see that he was wide receiver 4 last year. I think that he was maybe the sneakiest wide receiver 4 that has been around, in a while. I love this guy. He's another LSU wide receiver product in the long line of studs from there, which helps me, honestly make this decision. And yeah, I was just talking about looking at the list of people at the end of the round. Like, I feel like ESPN's ADP at least is pushing this guy back into the second round, and he keeps popping up in my research as like, rising to the top of my list of options there at like 1-8. I think that's a little bit of a reach maybe for him. But again, like, I love this guy. I think that, Liam Cohen coming in from the Buccaneers OC job and taking over as head coach, that's only going to help this guy. I just think the sky's the limit. He already has a wide receiver 4 finish as a rookie. Neighbors, I think in a similar vein, like Keith was saying, had a wide receiver like 7 finish because he had a little bit of injury concern and concussion stuff there for a while, missed some games. I just think this is a no-brainer. He's going to get the ball. I don't like Trevor Lawrence, which is the main wart for this guy, at least for me. But yeah, if you look at his stats across all of last season, and then if you look at how many targets he got towards the end of last year, it is insane. And I know, respectfully, Keith, Mac Jones is in the game for when he got peppered with like double-digit targets a game. But still, I don't know how you can see that as being Liam Cohen, seeing that he had all these targets and how good he did with them, and then transitioning to being head coach when you have a better quarterback taking back over in Trevor Lawrence, and not just absolutely game plan your whole offense around this guy. I've talked about Travis Hunter. I'm not worried about Travis Hunter. I think if anything, having Travis Hunter, and if he does become a viable wide receiver, I think that opens up kind of like Joe was talking about for CeeDee Lamb, where George Pickens is going to take some coverage off of him. The same thing there, where Travis Hunter is going to draw some attention and then let Brian Thomas Jr. just kind of run free a little more often. So if we pull up the stats from last year here, you can see just how he exploded. I know this isn't the whole year, but like no pause on the explosion here. You can see he went from like 2 targets, 2 receptions, 5, 4, 8, 10, 9, 7, 7. His targets went up to double-digit targets the last few games of the year, and then his yards and touchdowns go up as well. Using Clyde's eye test here, I mean, guy was just a stud. Our friend Jack had him last year, taking him super late as a rookie, and I was just super jealous all year that he got to watch this guy and cheer for him on his fantasy team. So I just don't see how, if he stays healthy and the Jaguars have any sort of a similar offense, which I think is going to take just, again, a massive leap with Liam Cohen coming into the fold, I don't see how he doesn't finish as a top 5 wide receiver again. And again, he plays the slot. He plays on the outside as well. If you're looking at the Buccaneers offense, like we were talking about earlier from last year, you have either Mike Evans to compare him to or Chris Godwin before he tore his ankle off of his body. And they were both going absolutely insane. So I just really like this guy. I like his potential. And I personally think he should be moved up above Nico Collins, maybe above Amon-Ra, although it's hard to argue after wide receiver 3 finishes the last couple of years, and just be talked about it as a first-round wide receiver up there with Neighbors.
Yeah, no, I'm very eager to kind of segue on this as a Tampa lover because, the Godwin take is true. I mean, if you guys remember before Godwin got hurt, he was wide receiver 2 in fantasy, which was like kind of like, I don't think anyone saw that coming, but he was wide receiver 2, played the same exact slot role there. So I would be really excited about the addition of Liam Cohen. But yeah, dude, as a rookie, 2024, 87 receptions, 1,282 yards, 10 touchdowns. He had a top 10 wide receiver finish, and he did it with T-Law missing 7 games and having a bottom 8 scoring offense. I completely agree. I mean, I like this guy. I would be stoked if he fell to me. Unfortunately, with the 102, I haven't really seen that, but if he did somehow make it to me in the second round, I would draft the living shit out of him. All the camp reports say that, he's got elite work ethic. He's got strong chemistry with T-Law there. And it looks like his ADP is the early second round. So, yeah, he's got the proven production. He's got the room for growth. I would totally draft this guy again and again and again.
Duval. I think it's a perfect pick for a ride or die because you're looking for somebody who has, number 1 position rank potential. I think BTJ has it. Like, this guy could easily be the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy this year. If Trevor Lawrence stays healthy and Liam Cohen is, not just a weirdo, but also can call an offense. Like, Liam Cohen, by the way, like Mike McDaniel, both NFL head coaches in the same state, like, which one's going to be better because they're both weird. But so I'm going to give you a list of wide receivers that had a better rookie season than BTJ. There's only 4 of them: Randy Moss, Jamar Chase, OBJ, and Puka. That's it. Like, that was a super impressive rookie season. And yes, I think, Jamar Chase being from the same school overshadows Brian Thomas just a little bit, but no reason to believe there's going to be any regression. The force-fed by Mac Jones narrative, Mac Jones has left nightmares in many of my nights. But at the end of the day, is Trevor Lawrence that much better? Right. I think that's only a good thing if a wide receiver is a safety blanket. We're talking about PPR here, people. We're not talking about schemes. We're not talking about fits, what they look like on an eye test, like our friend Cohn likes to talk about. We're talking about stats on a page, which is what wins you fantasy football leagues. And Brian Thomas Jr. has it, man. If he could go for 1,500, 13 tuds this year like that, and I would not be surprised. I'm a big fan of this guy. And, where you can pick him up, at that 12th or 13th pick, absolutely go after him, especially if Neighbors is off the board.
Yeah, and closing thoughts on this. Again, I just don't understand, every little synopsis and article and summary on his year that you read on Fantasy Pros or ESPN or whatever is just he had a great rookie season and he looks to only go up from here with Cohen at the helm. And it's he was wide receiver 4. Where if you're going to go up from there, like Keith said, you're talking top 3 wide receiver. And I just don't understand, he's being lumped in with this group of people that I mentioned a second ago. It's you got to deal with some warts on some of these guys like Nico that we just talked about. And I can't find the wart on this guy besides his quarterback. And even then I would take his quarterback over, at least a third of the league, unfortunately. So it's just, I think it's crazy. He doesn't have a little bit higher of an ADP, but yeah, I like him a lot.
Full send on Brian Thomas Jr. And I think that is the silver lining of having the pick that Corey has late in the first round. He can snag a guy like BTJ on the back end turn in the second round early. So I wish I was in that position because I don't think he's going to make it to me on the second round turn. If he does, I'm probably winning the league because that means I'm sitting with potentially CeeDee, Saquon, Puka, and Brian Thomas Jr. I'd be sweating if I were you guys. But speaking of league winners, I'll talk about my ride or die. And just before we hop in here, I just would like to mention that Joe's ride or die was also CeeDee Lamb, and he gave you a lot of great data points as to why CeeDee is the man. So just throwing that one out there. We're not skipping Joe here, but my ride or die is somebody that, again, another rookie who put up insane numbers that a lot of people are questioning, calling fraudulent. And my guy's Jayden Daniels, man, quarterback of the Commanders / the R words. I see no reason why this guy can be a top 3 quarterback in fantasy. And again, we're talking about fantasy football here. Stats on a page. The rushing production is elite. He doesn't make stupid decisions with the ball, and he had the most touchdowns within the last 30 seconds of the game last year among all quarterbacks. So, the guy squeezes all that he can out of his minutes. His mom doesn't let him talk to girls. This guy is squarely focused on the game, and he put up some freaking insane stats last year. I've got him here. If we go to the next slide, there is a lot to love, but I'll just highlight the ones that stand out the most for me. The completion percentage, right? Taking care of the ball, not making stupid decisions. 70% is pretty insane. Passer rating obviously is going to go hand in hand with that. Talked about the rushing production, but again, the 12 passing touchdowns in fourth quarter and overtime is pretty electric. The guy's fun to watch, and currently you can get him. I've got it right here. He's currently at the 25th pick and actually falling. Trey McBride is actually ahead of him now in terms of ESPN ADP. Joe, I'm not going to put you on the spot, but let us know what the blended ADP is. I don't have that up in front of me right now, but you got Lamar Jackson, you got Josh Allen currently ahead of him. I think he can be better than both of them. And I'm not saying in terms of NFL quality, but in terms of fantasy production, Allen's not going to run forever. He's going to get to the point where he does start to get banged up. Lamar, obviously is electric on the ground. It's probably going to continue to tear up rushing yards. But Jayden is somebody you can get, maybe with your third pick early potentially, and then you're totally set at the quarterback spot for the rest of the year. So I'm hitching my wagon to Jayden Daniels. I don't think his rookie year was fraudulent. I think he does it again this year and cements himself as, top 5 quarterback in the league for years to come. Joe just let me know that his master ADP is 30. So, you're looking, Chase Brown, Ladd McConkey, and then Joe Burrow. And if I'm looking at Joe Burrow versus Jayden Daniels, I'm sorry, Corey, I'm probably going Jayden Daniels just with the injury history on Burrow and, potentially poor coaching and play calling over there in Cincinnati. Like, say what you want about Cliff Kingsbury. The guy can call an offense, and I'm full steam ahead on the Commanders and the R words this year with Jayden at the helm.
Yeah, I think the only thing maybe holding him back is whatever's going on with Terry McLaurin. In a nightmare scenario, Terry McLaurin gets traded, and then his wide receiver room is super, super fat, 15 McDouble Deebo Samuel, and the ghost of Noah Brown and whoever else they have. But I think still, like, he offers so much value with his legs that he's super valuable. I don't blame you for taking him over, for all the reasons you just listed with, please God, Zach Taylor, fix your play calling. But yeah, I love the guy. I don't have a lot to say. I don't know how you can say anything other than he's going to at least repeat last year. And I think the only wrench that may be thrown into those plans is, again, Terry McLaurin getting traded. So I don't see any other world, and the reports coming out of camp are kind of backing up that he's going to, have any sort of regression. I think it's full steam ahead. And I don't blame people for taking him up there with like Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and the likes of them in that group.
Who would you rather have as a Bengals fan in fantasy? Like, let's say they cost you exactly the same, Joe Burrow or Jayden Daniels. Honestly,
just Jayden because of the rushing ability.
Okay, all right. Not what I expected you to say. All right.
No, I'm realistic. I understand Joe Burrow has to throw the ball a lot, and I think we will to get his production. But any people are talking about Justin Fields the same way. I mean, he's on the Jets. Realistically, they're going to be awful. They're not going to score a lot, but like, he runs the ball so much that you have to talk about him as a relevant fantasy player. So he's in the same boat, but he can actually, pass the piss out of the ball. So
yeah, I'm with you. Joe, what do you think?
Man, and I was just kind of thinking back to the last podcast that we did, Keith, where you were talking about how, Scary Terry is this guy's favorite target. And, if you're, you're previously rookie quarterback, now heading into his sophomore year, has a favorite target in Scary Terry, like, you need to absolutely sign Scary Terry. We're looking at the offensive rookie of the year last year. 3,500 passing yards, 25 touchdowns, 891 rushing yards, 6 rushing touchdowns. He's a top 10 fantasy quarterback as a rookie. He's got an elite rushing floor. He's got like Lamar Jackson range rushing floor, I think. And I really want to plug. I'm actually going to do that right here. I'm going to plug Kurt Benkert's video on him. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the old Green Bay former quarterback who didn't really work out, but he has a video.
Boy.
Yeah, he's a video where he breaks down Jayden Daniels, his POV on quarterbacking. And like, if you watch that video and just watch the breakdown, like, you can really see how talented this guy is, man. I think he's incredible. Not to glaze him too hard, but like, he's everything you want. Like, he drops back, he scans the field. He's quick on his feet. He's smart. He's got pocket presence. Like, he's everything that you want in a quarterback. And so, for that reason, like, totally agree. And it's interesting, like, in redraft, he, once the quarterback rush starts where everyone starts drafting quarterbacks, he's kind of like the last guy to go that's in that elite category. So I think his ADP should be higher, actually, for what you're getting with this guy. But yeah, no, I know he's got some added weapons there. Debo's, probably still has COVID and he's a little fat. They got Laramie Tunsil back there, I think, and whoever the hell else. But the Scary Terry Holden situation pending is a little worrisome, but I'm optimistic that he'll return. And yeah, again, you're just going to get another elite year with him, I think. Hopefully there's no sophomore slump, which, we kind of saw with CJ. But yeah, I love this kid.
Yeah, I guess question to you, same I asked Corey, Joe Burrow or Jayden Daniels. You going Daniels as well?
Yeah, easily. I was going to say the same thing. Just the rushing upside, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what I like is both of them have ice in their veins.
Yeah.
The touchdown metric that you gave on Jayden Daniels, dude, he is calm and he's collected and he's just operating. And what you love to see is a freaking quarterback just operate and not,
Just
fold under pressure
surgical.
like Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cardinals fans.
They're getting beat up on today for sure. But like, he finished QB5 in the last week. I think he was at Dallas. He only had 4.2 points. I'm pretty sure he played like 2 drives and then they took him out. Like he was injured, but they already had their playoff spot locked up. So I think they took him out of the game and put in Heine Cheeks, our name for Taylor Heineke. So realistically,
Taylor.
Good man.
Shout out Taylor for sure. I think he could be like QB3 if he would have played that full game there. And then like the final piece of commentary is like there's been a lot of people talking about the teams that the Commanders played last year, and they played a lot of like backup quarterbacks or starters that are definitely in the bottom half of the league. Like I don't really understand that point because like those people play for the other offense. Like they don't affect Jayden Daniels' production at all. So I'm hitching the wagon up, boys. I hope to grab him in our redraft, and if not, like I think whoever takes him is going to be pretty happy. And like the difference between Jalen Hurts and Jayden Daniels is just so vast to me. It's Grand Canyon sized, and they're only 3-4 picks apart here in terms of ADP. Notice I didn't even mention Jalen Daniels. Jaden. Too many Jalen and Jadens. Jalen Hurts. I didn't even mention Jalen Hurts. I went straight to Joe Burrow, man. So I think this guy is an absolute king. Draft at all costs. But that's the list we have here for all of you. Love, hate, and our ride or dies. Would love to hear from, number one, the Cardinals fans out there. If you like the Arizona Cardinals, where are you from and how'd you grow up liking the Cardinals? You big Kurt Warner fans? Did you like the old stadium? Do you like the new stadium? Would love to just hear whether you're from Glendale or Colorado City or fucking Scottsdale. I don't know, man. Just reach out to us. I would love to hear from you. And then also, if you got any commentary on our love, hate, disagree, agree, we'd love to chat with you at the Fantasy Forge. Find us on Twitter, YouTube, and anywhere you might take your podcast. But thank you for listening as always. Find us on YouTube, social media, like I mentioned earlier. Appreciate you tuning in. Have a good one, guys.
John Gruden, please come coach Arkansas.
Leave that in.